Welcome back to the Garden Hutch. Today we're going to prep our raised beds to plant our fall garden. Let's get going. Fall gardening is quickly becoming one of our favorite activities. We started it about 4 years ago, and now I can't imagine a gardening season passing without having a fall garden. We'll discuss more on the channel about what we plant, how we plant it, when we pull it, that sort of stuff. But today what I wanted to do is just go through how we transition from our summer gardens into our fall garden. So what we've done is we've gone ahead and taken the initiative and we've removed all of the determinate varieties and everything from this garden here that we're not going to take into the fall. So the only thing that we've really left are our slicing tomatoes, and they're an indeterminate variety, so if we're lucky we'll be picking tomatoes off of them, up until the start of October. So let's go ahead and take a look at the garden beds now. So just a quick before on these, you can see we did till the bottom down here of this prior to building the bed, and that was just to make sure that there was really good drainage. And then these beds, this is kind of typical of what we're looking for. We did let the chickens in here for a couple of weeks, which we'll probably do from now on. Once we pull them, we'll probably go through in the winter time after we pull the fall garden. So the plan is going to be, I have some untreated lumber that I'm going to put on the bottom of this and line this whole bed with, just to create sort of a solid bottom so that I don't have any washout. It'll only take about, maybe 1.5 inches or so of the bottom, and the rest will be compost. And then this over here we'll go through with a hoe, we'll break it all up really well, and then we'll put compost down on top, and we'll turn it. So we'll show that process as we go along. So I went ahead and I have this bed broken up well and turned over. You can see the next to it how this one is covered with the straw. That's sort of what I use to measure how much I've turned the bed over. So what I did was just went through, made sure there were no clumps or anything, and I tried to turn over the first 2 or 3 inches and work the straw into there, so that that's just adding in more of the organic matter to the compost below it. And so you can also see that I don't go through and rake it out neat. I just kind of leave it with the undulations and things that naturally occur as I mix it up. And from here I'll put on 2 or 3 inches of compost, enough to bring it up to the edge of the bed, and then I'll take a pitchfork and I'll work all that in. So we'll show that once it's completed as well. Oscar, if you want to help, why don't you grab a pitchfork, buddy? So this is a bed that we have completed after we turned the bottom, filled it with compost, and then turned that. And once again, you can see there are pieces of that straw from underneath that I've worked to the top. So I do like to put in the fresh compost, but I like to work it in when possible. Of course, I'll work it in with the compost underneath of it, because this is fresh compost, and fresh compost can be what they call hot, which means it can be difficult to grow new vegetables. So for now, the plan is I'll put these in here, and then every 3 days I'll make sure that they're watered thoroughly, and I will turn them, and that'll give me 5 water/turnings before I need to plant them, and that'll just ensure that my compost isn't too hot for my seeds to germinate and my plants to grow in. So we've got the whole carrot bed here. It's filled to the top. You'll see we went ahead and filled it to the top. I just want to show this real quick. If you get in here, you can see it's settled about, after we watered it, about 1/2 inch or so. So anyway, what's going to end up happening is, as time goes along, you're going to go through and add amendments or plant and that sort of stuff. So you need a slight buffer. It also doesn't hurt to have just a little bit of a lip there to help prevent the wind. But this one down here, this is full compost. So of course, when we go through to work it, you're not going to see some of the organic matter from last year coming up. But if you look at these beds, now these here, they have been, we went through as we showed, broke up the compost underneath, we broke up the top, and before we watered them, I took a pitchfork through and just kind of turned it over like we showed earlier, so that we get some of the bottom material into the top. So as you can see right up here, some of the straw from previous has kind of been worked up through there. And we put a good 4 inches or so, as you can see, of compost on top of it. So, you know, you go to work it in. It's a bit of exercise, which is good this time of year. Gets you ready for your fall gardens. It also will do wonders for the vegetables that we're going to put in here. You can see after it watered, these are the clumps right here that when you go through the hoe before you water, you want to break all those up. And then when you water, you'll see more, and you just kind of keep doing this for a couple weeks before we plant in the fall. So I want to discuss a little bit the process of what happens between now and 2.5 weeks when we actually plant our garden. So what we're going to do is we come out, as we mentioned before, I'll bring a hoe and I'll just break the top of it up every morning. Every third day, I'll go through with the pitchfork and I'll turn about 3 to 4 inches or so. I want to try to work some of that older material up to the top. What that does is it gives a lot of air in your soil, and it also, if your compost is a little too hot, it gives that time to fully break down to where your seeds will be able to germinate with no problem. The other thing that we're going to do is the carrot bed. Now, the carrot bed, we're going to have to wait until the spring to plant it. And the reason for that is the compost that we got is really hot right now. So I had the choice to make. I could either mix it half and half with that in topsoil, turn it, and it would turn the temperature down a bit so that we could grow our carrots this year. Or I could go ahead and just continue what I'm doing and doing the process of turning the top 4 inches or so and just letting it naturally break down. We've decided to go that area because I believe if we do that and then put 2 inches of topsoil in over the winter time, work that end, it's going to be the perfect carrot soil for many, many years to come. So I just think that taking the extra half a year to let the compost break down, I believe that's going to be best for the overall health of the garden. So we'll see as time goes on. But we also have a bed that we'll put the carrots in. We'll show all that whenever the time comes. Well, that about wraps it up here at the Garden Hutch. We appreciate all you folks that have made it here till the end. If you enjoy our content, consider subscribing to the channel. It goes a long way in helping us out. It's free for you. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, consider liking the video and sharing it with your friends. Until next time, I hope that all you folks take care of yourselves. Peace.